Director Nana, the various sectors involved in the project, namely local government, Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare. You have the GBOS, the various, the media fraternity and those in the diaspora, the honorable public all across, and our development partners, with all other protocols respectfully and duly observed. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense honor and privilege that I address you all today as we launch one of the biggest cash transfers ever in the Gambia as part of the Social Safety Net project. On behalf of His Excellency, Mr. Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, I bring you his warmest greetings to all. Fellow listeners, the Gambia, like many developing countries around the world, has registered much progress in reducing poverty and creating the enabling environment for improving the lives of its people. The country in 2015 was ranked 173 out of 188 countries in the UNDP Human Development Index report. However, the poverty rate remains high in the country, with 48% of the population living below the poverty line of $1.25 a day, and 69.5% of the rural population still considered poor are also battling with food insecurity. National statistics have indicated that huge disparities exist within the Gambia's population in accessing basic social protection services, coupled with social, cultural, economic, and environmental risks that exacerbate this situation. And those most affected are the poor and vulnerable people. In recent times, the Gambia has adopted a systemic approach to strengthening social protection and working towards the establishment of an integrated and equitable social protection system in the country to better address the needs of the poor and vulnerable people. As a result, social protection issues have taken a center stage in our national and social policy dialogues in the Gambia. The government of the Gambia has also demonstrated staunch commitment to make social protection issues a national priority by coming up with a national social protection policy as envisaged in the National Development Plan 2018 to 2021. The government is also spearheading a number of policy-level initiatives, including the annual National Social Policy Forum and the establishment of the National Social Protection Steering Committee, NSPSC, mandated to promote high-level dialogue for improved social protection delivery. The National Social Protection Steering Committee provides oversight, coordination, and advocacy for inclusive social protection in the country. The committee has recently been revitalized under the chairpersonship of my office. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of the Gambia, in collaboration with the World Bank, is executing a 5-year, $31 million social safety net project. The project is currently being implemented by the National Nutrition Agency, NANA, the Social Protection Secretariat, the Department of Community Development, and Department of Social Welfare. The project objective is to improve the coordination of social assistance activities, provide temporary social assistance support to rural households in the wake of COVID-19, and increase the inclusion of the extreme poor in the Nafa program. Component 1 of the project focuses on the development of coordination mechanisms for the social assistance sector. Component 2 focuses on the Nafa program of cash transfers and social and behavioral change communication, SBCC, to the eligible extreme poor, and component 3 focuses on project management and capacity building. The coordination of the social assistance sector is being improved and supported by maintaining a social registry and establishing a social protection Secretariat. These efforts would contribute towards the government's goal of establishing and strengthening the leadership, coordination, and implementation mechanisms of social protection initiatives in the Gambia. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Nafa project will provide cash transfer targeting the extreme poor households with accompanying social and behavioral change communication. This will contribute towards the government's goal to increase social assistance coverage of the extreme poor. The Nafa program targets specific geographical areas, the selection of which started at district level. This exercise was informed by the district contribution to poverty in the Gambia, measured by the sum of the extreme poverty headcount ranking and the extreme poverty gap ranking. The rationale behind starting the selection at district level was based on the huge differences in poverty levels within regions, which results in better off and more populated areas masking important poverty pockets, which often remains neglected by several program interventions. Using the Integrated Household Survey 2015 to 2016 data, districts with the highest ranking by headcount poverty rate plus poverty gap rates were selected. Within each of these districts, all communities and all the households within will be assessed for eligibility. The Nafa program is designed to provide continuity and harmonization with other programs by taking an existing package of cash transfers with social and behavioral change communication managed by partners to new districts and regions. However, Nafa program differs from other programs in that the targeting is based on poverty status rather than categorical selection. The beneficiary unit is the household instead of the individual, and the social and behavioral change communication intervention will cover productive capital as well as human capital topics. The initial rollout of this new Nafa program can provide the foundation for its future scale-up to a national poverty-targeted program as a platform for the introduction of additional features of increasing complexity, including, for example, productive accompanying measures, shock response functionality, productive economic inclusion support, delivery of other poverty-targeted interventions, or referral to other programs and services. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic and the stringent measures put in place by the government to prevent and contain the virus, as well as to mitigate its impact on food and nutrition security, the Nafa program was restructured to contribute to the fight against the COVID-19 through a Nafa Quick. Therefore, the Nafa Quick initiative we are launching today is a subset of the Nafa program that has extended benefits beyond the extreme poor to almost all rural households in the selected districts. The Nafa Quick intends to contribute to the mitigation of the social and economic impact of COVID-19 on the population by providing immediate universal cash transfer of $1,500 per month, 2 transfers of $3,000 within a period of 4 months to about 83,000 households in 30 districts in West Coast Region, Lower River Region, Central River Region, Upper River Region, and North Bank Region, covering the lean period. Thereafter, the Nafa program will be implemented in the 20 poorest districts, targeting 15,606 extreme poor households selected using a proxy means test and community validation for a period of 18 months. The regular revenue provided to the households through the Nafa program is aimed at both increasing short-term consumption of essential goods and services and enabling longer-term investments in human and productive capital. A tailored social and behavioral change communication program will provide information to beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries to encourage investments in human capital, especially maternal and child health and nutrition, education, adolescence and family planning, parenting and gender-based violence, and productive capital, especially savings, entrepreneurship, and agriculture, to break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. The program will also make referrals to other services and productive opportunities in the neighborhood. Fellow Gambians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with this launch today, we are reaffirming under the leadership of His Excellency the President Adama Barrow, the government's commitment to addressing malnutrition, social protection issues, poverty and food insecurity. The Office of the Vice President will continue to advocate for the inclusion of financial support to nutrition and social protection interventions in the country, having realized that if undernutrition, poverty and vulnerability are left unaddressed, the realization of our National Development Plan goals would be compromised. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank on behalf of the government of the Gambia, under the leadership of His Excellency the President Adama Barrow, the World Bank, UN agencies and other development partners for complementing government's effort in providing the much needed social safety net to our extreme poor and vulnerable populations. I would also like to express my profound appreciation for the commitment shown by all government sectors involved in the designing and operationalization of the Nafa Quick. I strongly believe that together we can end poverty through achieving zero hunger, preventing and even eliminating child undernutrition in our lifetime. With this remark, I now have the singular honor and privilege to officially launch on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, the Nafa Quick Cash Transfer. As a reminder, please wash your hands with water, wear face masks, and ensure social distancing. Together, we can save each other from the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you all your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Hello.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Hello.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's a wonderful statement, very clear, well eloquent. I think all of us can give her a round of applause wherever we are. Can we? Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is well delivered. I don't intend to really dichotomize or digest what you want, what you have already presented. But I think in terms of situation analysis, you have given really a clear position of where we are as a country in terms of socioeconomic status and our human resources capacity and ranking, which is very key. And key among them, of course, is the poverty levels. We know it is the poverty has increased, but more importantly, the rural poverty has exacerbated. And quite reasonably, government intervention must come in to wade in to make a difference. And I think those things were very well clear in terms of His Excellency's government coming with a basic package in terms of social protection services, of course, coupled with other economic and other measures, which has even we've seen a change, dramatic change in the policy area. And we are happy that in good policies, your statement has come out with very good policies in terms of the initiatives for the policy forum, the steering committee, which are very good policy instruments to have that interface with all service providers, key among them, of course, with our partners. And having said that, we must also understand, I'm talking to the general audience, the fact that this is a World Bank, but government has opened up, and we have seen at another level where EU is also intervening and the UN system. So therefore, the need for the Social Protection Secretariat to take the mantle in terms of coordination. And actually, this falls under your purview, Her Excellency. And these are all statements that came out clearly. And the project development objective, of course, was very clear in terms of improving the coordination and the social assistance, which you have also raised. And I think these are the key messages which we want the media to tease out. The social registry has been mentioned, and it's a key milestone development for which your edifice is pursuing now to make sure that the data is available. And with the click of a button, you know who is poor and how we are moving in terms of intervention, in terms of changing the wavelength from being poor, extreme poor to less poor. I think GBOS is assisting in that. The advent of the COVID has changed the wavelength, and in fact, it has hastened the pace. And so that's why we are saying Nafa quick, because it's an amplification of the need and to accelerate the pace at which intervention must come down to alleviate poverty. So similarly, with this kind of scenario, we have seen that the Nafa quick is built on the essence of the household. Similarly, Your Excellency, when you launched the food aid project on behalf of His Excellency, if you remember, the target was 80%, now almost 90%, was also based on the same household component, being aware, of course, where the nexus is in terms of priority. So I think there is consistency throughout in terms of government intervention. So having said that, we've also seen that the Nafa project is not only physical cash transfer to say, okay, have this, then get food stuff here and there, but it's also linked to a very innovative educational program, which will also link the community to other government services. So the linkage is very, very a wise policy decision for the government of Adama Barrow to link all this as a package rather than treating it as a single intervention, which is also a very good underlying key message that the media needs to share, so that family planning issues are not separated from other elements of social services being delivered. Having said that, Your Excellency, these are the key points I've captured, but I think your statement is full of wisdom, and I think it's very rich, and I am sure it will make a big difference. So on that note, Your Excellency, I just want to thank you for that wonderful statement. And if you, with your kind indulgence, if you can take 1 or 2 or 3 questions from the media, we would not want to be short. With your indulgence, if that is possible, I will allow Sergio Camara, who is our communication officer, to moderate on my behalf in terms of choosing which media house, because it's a teamwork. Sergio Camara, if you can also be on the platform there, I hope you can help us at that level. I'm so Boja would have been the lead, but he's on leave. I'm sure she's listening to me, but equally this is a communication issue. So we give you the opportunity, Sergio Camara, our communication officer, to come forward. Sergio. So now I will give you the permission to take questions. Let us be set simple to the point. So, okay. Go on.
Okay, hello. Can we use the raise hand button if you want to do any questioning?
Okay. Koli?
Yeah, Yankuba Jallo.
Let's have Yankuba Jallo for a newspaper. Yankuba?
Yes, thank you very much. Greetings to everyone. And my question will be in respect to the national social protection policy. So I would like to have some understanding as to what does this policy entail, where it has been developed, and who are going to be responsible for the implementation of the policy. Thank you.
Very much. I think the national social protection policy is developed, and it is not going to be one that's going to be used by one institution. It's going to be systemic. All the institutions have been mentioned, and all of them have implication for the policy because of the roles they play. And within the PLUS policy, you have clear objectives and outputs that are needed, and in response to the policy, each of the institutions will play their role. It is going to be implemented within a multi-sectoral approach process.
Ajo, we have Aliou Cisse.
Okay, Aliou Cisse, QTV.
Thank you very much, Aliou Cisse here. Madam Vice President, what will be your response to those that suggest perhaps this money being given to people in the rural Gambia is meant to buy votes ahead of the next year's election? What will be your response to those people?
This government knows its responsibility, and it also has a vision that looks at the whole entity of the country. The leader is His Excellency President Barrow, and it is his responsibility as the primary duty bearer to respond to the development needs and the situation of the country when the circumstances do arise, both under normal circumstances and also under emergency situations. What he is doing is to play his leadership role and part as the primary duty bearer to serve the nation. There is nothing like politics in it. Of course, you cannot stop people from thinking the way they are thinking. He is responsible, whether they are with him or not. It is his duty because he's leading the Gambia. He's the one at the moment who is the primary duty bearer and head of government in terms of leading this country. So these are speculations that people are saying. We cannot stop them, but I think it's very clear looking at the fact that when the humanitarian response came, there were similar stories that were put up out there, but it became quite clear that it is not so. It is his duty that he is doing to the population.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question?
Yes, Lamin Jai, the Fatu Network.
Okay, Lamin Jai.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Madam Vice President. Lamin Jai here, the Fatu Network. I just want to ask, you are talking this multi-million-dollar project there. You were talking about 83,000 households for a start. I just want to have an idea whether you have that. The rough figure or estimate of the number of Gambians that are going to benefit directly from this project there. And also, you're talking about giving or handing out $1,500 to each household. I just want to know whether the government, maybe through the National Nutrition Agency, has done any finding or investigation in terms of ascertaining, because household, when you talk about a household, the size are always different. So did you do any investigation in that respect to kind of reconcile the various households? You will go to a household, for example, and find 2 or 3 people there, and go to another one and find 20 people there. So do you have an idea as to the number of Gambians that are going to directly benefit from this project, 83,000 households, as well as the size of each of these households there?
Thank you very much. I think you have answered some of the questions even in your asking. The NANA project or this social protection initiative could not have done anything without going through analysis. I think people have to understand that you cannot run a project or you cannot implement any project just sitting down there and say, this is what I want to do. It is informed by statistics, following processes and due diligences to work with different sectors. That's why you have a multi-sectoral approach. You have heard about GBOS. GBOS is responsible for the statistics of the country. and is responsible for collection, working with other institutions. You also have the Women's Ministry of Women. You have the local governments and land, and all the other the relevant institutions that come together to work. And that is guided by a policy document. A policy document is prepared to be a guideline to carry out the vision and the mission and the targeted objectives we want to achieve through a planned, coherent, and systematic way in making sure that when people relate with the project, this is what their duties are. This has been done, I want to tell you, and it has been calculated, and it is based on facts and figures that were analyzed, looking at various procedures within the framework of the sectors that are responsible. That has been done. There are, of course, I agree with you.
Do you have that? Do you have those statistics?
Yes, we have the data. And if you want to get them, go to the NANA project, they will give you. You come to the Office of the Vice President, go to the Ministry of Women, Children, and Social Welfare. You go to GBOS, which is the head of the of figures that matter in the country. They will give you. As I said, it is guided by a policy document, and a policy document is not developed in the vacuum. It is based on research, based on analysis, based on consultations, and whatever is needed for us to have that framework that logically, systematically help us to implement projects. It's not being done off head. So whatever we are doing is based on a process that is acceptable from a scientific and developmental point of view.
So just quickly follow up. I know Mr. Fall is here of NANA, but then I just want to have like a simple basic understanding of this entire project. Gambia, you're talking about 2 million people, thereabout. How much is 83,000, households? That's the news here. That is the news here. So if we don't have that in this event, of course, we can go later and find out how much that is, but it would have been very helpful if we could get that here in this event.
Okay, what I will advise is, you have rightly noted the leader in that area. You can meet them and get more figures and be clear about what is. You'll be guided by the policy document also. Do a little bit of reading and then consult, you will get what you want. We are very appreciative of this question.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, with respect to what Laminjai said, you are quite right. We have the statistics. We have the statistics. If the initial targeting, of course, as Mr. Fall alluded to earlier, with your permission, Your Excellency, was 20 households. But because of the restructuring, we added more. Now it's almost about 30 households.
20 districts, 20 to 30 districts.
Yes, 20 districts. So if you look at those 20 districts, that is almost about 336,096 in terms of people. So just adding more, that means that we are almost about 500,000. So in a sense, by good estimates, we are almost about 400,000 plus, almost 500,000. But as you have said, the statistics are available. So that's what I can just come in. I just want to come in there for Mr. Njai's consumption. So, but I leave the rest to the media person. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Okay, we have 1 more minute to end the meeting.
Yeah. Any questions?
PS. Okay, PS, you can take the floor and we end the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. I think let's give another round of applause to Her Excellency, and then actually I don't have much to say, but I will use this occasion on behalf of Her Excellency to thank all the participants today on the forum, and we are very, very happy that all our partners, spared no moment. In fact, we came, for some of them, it's the last minute, and they get connected, and we are there. So we are happy, and we also thank the media for their interest, for their keen interest in following this, and I'm sure this will hit the whole globe very soon. That's what we expect. Let's make it known so that at least we know what government is doing for its people. And I think it's important that we share this momentous occasion with you, with this landmark breaking launch of Her Excellency, which couldn't have come at a better time than now, where, where governments are struggling, where we have seen, in the global scale, investment and funding going down, and people are now thinking, what do we do for our people? And if the government of the Gambia can take this giant stride with all the humanitarian responses that have happened, plus this one, I think this is a kudos to the government of His Excellency. On this note, with the permission and indulgence of Her Excellency, we will want to bring this engagement to a quick close, and we thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Debunking COVID-19 myths. Myth 1.